the feminine. She is the one who knows the heart, and the masculine is the one who knows the mind. And we have both. And that is how together life's created. Now, I have a lot of things to share about this, but I'm on a time crunch. So we're going to share the gist of it and then we're going to revisit it. The feminine is the body of yours, the masculine is the mind, and I use different ways to divine, masculine, feminine. But for purposes of, again, this episode particularly, what I'm going to give you is that the capacity to feel the wealth of feelings comes from a person who owns their feminine. So you choose yourself. I choose to be Maria. All of my child parts are not charged, and I actively know how to be self aware, accountable, and regulating. It's because I own my sense of self. So I am a feminine. And a masculine can come around and tell me that I have to change. And I'm going to say, yeah, sure, there's a door right there. You can go. Thanks for stopping by. And that's called self empowerment and enlightenment, and we vibe at it. And I'm a 5D mystic, so I'm going to integrate our lovely oversoul and some spiritual mystic stories too. So we don't actively have any doubt about our herd. We know that we get to be always in our emotional plane because of mental, emotional, and physical intelligence. And that intelligence is because a feminine knows how to nurture all into being, and that when a masculine is not wanting to be nurtured, they will be captured, contained, given limitations, and nurtured by a pretend feminine. That's called the shame, blame, fault, revenge people who have low self-esteem and they don't move into mindful living or mindset or mindset. So they don't actively move into enlightenment. They don't know the human love narrative. They don't know any of what I get to share with you from my lovely playfulness inside here. Okay, so this lovely crystal shares with us how we can play with the light we have available. And that's because we use our lovely unlimited imagination. We also have the playfulness of a young at heart, like the song by Frank Sinatra and Michael Bublé. So playfulness, I'm not ever alone, and I get to co-create with spirit. And that's because spirit, God, universe, we are allies. And that's because we know about this lovely thing called the prefrontal cortex, so beginner's mind. So my masculine is always in my prefrontal cortex. And that's because I know how to make do with my resources. I'm grounded in my humanity as a securely attached woman and person, and I know that my family is my lovely earth. Okay, so no matter what stories come about from anyone in the 4D or 3D land, we don't get dissuaded or confused. I don't shame, blame, fault, or revenge people. Jesus taught me how to unconditionally love and forgive, and so did God. And so that's why it doesn't matter what a Cusco will do. I will know that a person who's angry, sad, afraid, happy, disgusted, or surprised, that their 6 basic human emotions will be accepted by me because I am in the feminine of me. So I know I'm flawed too. I'm imperfect. But I also have human emotions. And I'll also know that I don't have to work for love, nor do you. And I know how to accept myself and accept you. It's called self-empowered, enlightened human being in their ventral vagal state. Okay, good. So this is a consistent presence is possible from a compassionate human being. Doesn't mean the ones who are masculines will see that. No, actually imagine someone trusting a kind person less. And that is actively what those who are adaptive child patterns of themselves and maladaptive do. So we leave it alone, though, because their emotion has a subjective experience, a physiological response, and a behavioral response. We will notice their behaviors. We will address them as people, not as anyone who's going to tell you how to do love, how to do life. Nope. That's where you can find the feminines who will actively capture you because they will draw at the pain point you share, and they will then all together with that empowered justice be the 16 spiteful and wanting to run around with their mouths. And, they think that the words they utter are for all, but it's not. It's for their pain point, their trust break. You'll notice it because they don't talk about all people as one. Okay, so that's where, again, the feminine. We know that the life within us is not to serve our body, our mind, and our emotions. It's the opposite. So that's when you're a feminine. That's when you are a mystic and a spiritual person. So my oversoul, I, as the feminine, can always nurture. And them hopping over the fence to go and get captured, I will try, like Pacha, to save Cusco from the jaguars as he engages with the squirrel from Cusco land, right? Okay, so as I will notice people who are not healthy self-worth, I will try as a person, I can try that, right? Okay, good. So that's where the feminine does know the way of the heart and the way of the mind all together in one, which is why we will talk sense. And that's why we will say, here's my thoughts, here's my feelings, here's what's happening, here's what I'm pretty much sure about in my own subjective experience, which is why I'm asking, say, it sounds like you know everything. You don't know everything. Guess what the teenager does to spite when they are shame, blame, fault, revenge. So like Cusco, just go watch The Emperor's New Groove. That's the attitude. So again, a feminine, we know how to be young at heart, and we use playfulness strategically to build the best life. So whenever we have someone who doesn't know how to be their own feminine, they did not choose love. They did not choose to be their self. They did not choose to get out of the, again, unresolved trauma from home or trust breaks. So whenever you're carrying a charge, the empowered justice group, they're on step 4. They're not recovering. That's why we have those who demonize or romanticize. They actively make up stories instead of dealing with the emotions, processing, witnessing, welcoming, reintegrating, and taking the time it takes to, heal. And then to move into being a functional adult because you learned how to love yourself first, because you chose your feminine. I'm so sorry. You chose to self-regulate, to learn to see yourself, soothe yourself, become safe and secure to be yourself. It's pretty straightforward, huh? Yeah, so now let's go out and play, huh? Yeah, good. So for this feminine right here, what I can tell you about masculines is that as long as they don't choose their self, they didn't choose love. As long as they don't treat someone with kindness, they didn't choose love. As long as they think they can shame and teach somebody else how to do life with this rigidity, unforgiveness, and all the evil, Lucifer, all these names, they didn't choose love. They're not connected. Doesn't matter what clairs they got. Their distortion is very visible to the feminine who uses left and right mode to hear what's speaking, to perceive what's feeling. Notice your heart's closed. So Cusco, what do you think? Are you ready to tell the truth to Pacha? No, you're not. Wow. Not impressed, masculine, but it's okay. Yeah, we get it. You don't want to return to your 1-year-old. You don't want to get earned secure attachment. You don't want to get out of the shame button. No. It's actively in your own timing. So it's only once you can see yourself as a person who is worthy of love because you are loved that you will welcome yourself home. That's when you choose your feminine. So for feminines, we already know who we are. We live with heart. I got Jesus to thank and God and my own family to be able and be here. And me. I got to choose to keep my heart open. A lot of people, especially masculines, like to thank others. It's because the masculine continues to bow down to other people. The one reason that a feminine will get basically, let me see how to share this, because today we had a lot of episodes. I'm trying to give you something very specific while respecting the balance of the scale that masculine and feminine bring to existence. A feminine will learn how to do on their own, not because they have to. A true feminine will learn to do on her own because her masculine will consistently doubt her, because her masculine consistently doubts himself, and therefore consistently throws shit in the face of a person who's confident because their feelings and guts say so, and that gets to be presented again and again and again with that which is feedback, which is unnecessary, but that they want to give because their left mode is all over it, and it's because of ego, and they think of right and wrong, and they're not even using their gut. See, and so this is why a feminine will learn to do on her own, because our guts may not always get it right, but they'll get it right sometimes. It's always going to be a 50-50 chance. It doesn't matter if you're using your gut or your mind, but eventually you lead yourself to enough harmony, like our ancestors did. All of our emotions serve our survival. Disgust serves us to survive. So from things that are bad for you. Anger is about correction. Fear, certainty, happiness is about, rejoicing, and surprise can be different ones. So they serve human survival. They don't need stories, meaning like devils, demons, or whatnot. It's sad because when you doubt yourself, when men, women, or theys don't have their feminine, they consistently have self-doubt. So their left mode creates the inner critic. Their right mode might bring out eventually outer critic. A feminine doesn't have that. I don't have a masculine that treats me like shit. But from the outside, you'll have masculines. They doubt and don't find the feelings of importance And that's because of a lot of things that I could get into right now, but I won't. So, what I'm saying is a feminine will learn to leave it alone because we are not going to wait a lifetime for a masculine to actively trust their self. So, when people don't choose to save their inner child from shame, blame, fault, revenge, what we see are unkind human beings who walk around with their adaptive child behavior or maladaptive. So, I'm going to keep it simple and short. This feminine in this episode is saying when you are feminine, you know your heart and you know how to be yourself. And your own masculine is the way of the mind, and together you create life. And you also know how to be a emotionally, mentally, and physically intelligent person. So, like a pacha, when we're with people who do not know their own worth, that their contribution to the world is how they live, how joyful they are, and that they have an impact, we say, okay, you got two choices. We're human love group. We got a human suffering love group over there for the masculines who want to be captured and whipped into shape by people and all that other great stuff. It's not really great, but again, you're going to put someone on a pedestal and you're going to keep on wanting to, and you're going to doubt the one person, someone who's kind to you, more than the ones who are not, because your shame button leads you to consistently want to be treated as if you're defective, and because you want to make sure you get in, and there's this whole way. So it's only once a masculine awakens to, wow, I have a feeling that I should be treated in a way, and then when I do get love, I run away from it with fear. And that's something that masculines, they can wake up from. And when they do, then they know love. And then they choose true love. And they'll know why the fucking drinking, drugging, and Pinocchio's island is a regretful choice, as is moving and being with people who don't treat you a certain way. I mean, it's not, you can't blame yourself for the distorted self-image. And so masculine will not be able to, once they have enough room, they'll be able to know, okay, I ran away from love and I've chosen fear and meaningless and void because I have had those first 3 years of my life and my childhood in the absence of being able to welcome and own my sense of self. Now that I do, okay, so once they have good therapy, then they have their feminine, and now we have a window of welcome to emotions because they can contain feelings. Now they can learn to harmonize. So that's when they will be pachas and cuscas together. When we can feel our body as the container, then the emotions and the sensations do not feel as overwhelming. They're being contained, Peter Levine. And so they don't run away from love. They actually welcome it, and they feel from the depths of their self. And that's where I'm going to leave you for today. We'll be back with more either later on or tomorrow on the topic, as I have more to share. But let's, again, unconditionally loving. We all have flaws. We all have imperfections. Anyone who runs away from love, feminine, will know that they're doing the I chose fear. I don't choose myself. I choose that I am going to continue dating Strombolis and doing all that. And I'm talking humanly speaking. The mystic of me can tell you, yeah, 4D, they got mantles all over the place. So with that, feminine is connected to what love and life is, and it is that we're complementary only when you're an actual masculine, which means you don't bow down and you actively, one, trust yourself, but you also trust the people around you because you've chosen your herd. But it's, again, a lot more than just that. Healthy self-worth people know about functional adults. And they know that the functional adults have integrity. And then we'll learn how those who don't have integrity, but they want to think they do, have porous boundaries because they're rigid, unforgiving, and they don't know how to have fun. They don't know playfulness. So they don't know how to actively enjoy all conversations. We do. And we love to learn more. So we'll be back with more. Like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for stopping by.